Welcome to America's historic steam railroads. Over the years, short-line railroads have occasionally received from their passengers, local residents, endearing nicknames. Today, we're going to ride a railroad with a very unusual name, the Skunk Train. Located about 140 miles north of San Francisco, California, on the shores of the Pacific Ocean, is our starting point, Fort Bragg, California. 40 miles of railroad run from the coastal town of Fort Bragg to the inland city of Willits. For over 100 years, rail cars have traveled the scenic Redwood route on the Skunk Line, carrying logs, loggers, freight, and passengers through towering redwoods and mountain meadows, from the sea to Willits and back again. In 1925, the railroad started using their self-powered gas engine rail bus, which prompted people to say, "You can smell 'em before you can see 'em." I'm Bob Schreiber. Welcome aboard the Skunk Train as we bring back the memories of yesteryear on America's historic steam railroads.
The California Western Railroad operates today both as a freight carrier and a regulated passenger railroad. In fact, it is an intercity passenger railroad by definition.
The railroad operates all year with an all-day 7-hour round trip from Fort Bragg to Willits and 2 half-day rides from March to October.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Fort Bragg was established as a military outpost in the 1850s, principally to protect the indigenous Indians in the area. It was a small encampment, and most of which is lost today. There's one structure left in the center of town that's utilized as a small museum. The railroad was first planned and construction commenced in 1885 as a part of the Union Lumber Company that was being established in Fort Bragg to take advantage of the giant redwood forest that surrounded the area.
When construction of the railroad started, massive amounts of manpower had to be used to cut away parts of the mountains for the track roadbed. Large steam shovels soon had the line open to start hauling the mighty redwoods to the mill in Fort Bragg. The mill was a very busy place during the early part of the 20th century.
We run freight probably 2 times a week, between Fort Bragg and Willits.
The line serves Georgia Pacific Lumber Company and is a vital part of the area's business community. Tourists are drawn from all over the United States to experience the line's historic route and marvel at the well-maintained equipment, especially its wonderful Baldwin steam locomotive.
'45 is a Mikado 282 built by Baldwin, 1924. Approximately 250,000 pounds.
This type of locomotive earned its nickname Mikado when the Baldwin Locomotive Works built a few 282 locomotives for Japan in 1897. The two-wheel trailing truck allowed a larger firebox and drivers to be used. The steam locomotive is always a fascinating sight for viewers of all ages. Long before the passengers arrive for their ride on the train each day, the engine house crew prepares the locomotive for the day's run.
When we break apart, when something wears out, typically it has to be reverse engineered and manufactured. It's not, there aren't parts warehouses for Baldwin engines. It's important to keep in mind that everything on that is handmade and remanufactured on the property or locally.
The locomotive requires a lot of grease to help in the ongoing preservation of equipment. The fuel oil in the tender is topped off each morning. Water is also added. One of the railroad's diesels is used to pull the yet-to-be-fired steam locomotive under the sand hopper to receive a fresh load of sand for the drivers. Locomotives spray the sand onto the tracks ahead of the drive wheels in order to create traction when a train starts to move. Even the engine house needs constant upkeep to bring it back to its original condition.
The reasoning behind the term skunk railroad was back in 1925, CWR purchased its first rail bus. It was a gas-burning engine, pot-bellied stove for heat. And the people out here in the river said they could smell it coming before they could see it, so they started calling it the skunk train.
The first rail bus, M100, is still in use today, hauling passengers along the beautiful Redwood route. In the late 20s and 30s, the line used several different types and makes of rail buses. Even the modern-looking M300 is still in use today.
I see so much happiness that the trains bring to the youngsters. The children are fascinated by trains, and it really, it's very gratifying to see the youngsters as well as the older folks, and especially the steam engine. They seem to love the steam engine, the old nostalgia. The California Western is more than just a tourist line. We have approximately 15 families that live along the line, and they're very dependent upon the trains. We also have a mail service. We provide mail service and newspaper service to approximately 15 families that live out here.
Right on that road, okay? Very good.
Lumber Company.
Thank you.
You're
with the Scout. Okay.
Georgia Pacific and Fort Bragg, where they used in their hydro.
The local Boy Scouts use the railroad to reach their scout camp, Camp No-Yo.
See you guys later.
Some of the highlights along the line are as we leave Fort Bragg down in the Pudding Creek area, just about 10 minutes away from town, is then osprey nests. There are a lot of wild birds that nest in this area, and if you look up on top of a tree to your left, you'll see an osprey nest. The osprey is commonly known as the fish hawk.
Some youngsters are real rail fans.
Coming up on the right, you'll see a very large and oddly shaped redwood tree. And the foresters think that this tree was struck by lightning years ago, and that's what caused it to grow so irregular.
When we arrive at North Spur, we have to cut the locomotive off, run it around a Y, After we make the move around the Y and connect back up with the train, we back up to the water tower, and the fireman puts in the amount of water that we used up for the trip.
The Y changes the direction the locomotive faces, making the return trip easier for the train crew. While our engine crew tends to their duties, the passengers get a chance to get a cup of coffee or a soft drink, and maybe a snack in the North Spur gift shop and coffee bar.
Defensive end starter.
We entered tunnel number 1, which was completed in 1893. This tunnel is 1,122 feet long. It took 4 years to complete.
The observation car is once again available.
As we climb the mountain, there's one stretch up on the mountain that will take us 8½ miles of track to travel a straight line distance of only 1½ miles. Some of the railroad's 381 curves are as much as 28 degrees. The redwood tree is very unusual. It only grows in a certain area in the world, and a lot of people have not seen the redwood and seen its size and its beauty. You'll notice that we no longer have the redwoods at the summit. The climate is such that it's a little bit too warm in the summer, a little bit too cold in the wintertime, and the redwood trees like moisture and like the coastal fog. There are no redwoods on the east side of the summit.
The beautiful stands of trees and tranquil streams along the railroad remain much the same as when the line opened. Combined with the gentle motion of the train, they make for a very relaxing experience for riders of all ages.
Down into the Willis kayak area. Forest fire later started this area.
Look at that big cluster. This thing goes
The open observation cars must be vacated every time the train enters a tunnel for passenger safety reasons. Here we approach tunnel number 2.
The observation car is once again available. We have just crossed State Highway 20. In about 10 minutes, we will be arriving in Willis. We'll be the first one over.
The town of Willits is the California Western's drop-off point for the lumber shipments of Georgia Pacific Lumber Mill in Fort Bragg. Here, the lumber is transferred to the main line for further distribution. The depot at Willits is constructed entirely of redwood, with a great deal of ornate trimming on the building. While the passengers grab some lunch, the train is turned around and is ready for boarding for our return trip to Fort Bragg. The sound of a steam whistle, the sight of a handsome locomotive, the ever-changing scenery is enough to bring a smile to your face.
Within a few minutes, we'll be arriving.
All too soon, our trip back to yesteryear is over as we return to the Fort Bragg depot. visitors to the Skunk Train experience a unique combination of railroading history and natural beauty. As a result, the California Western Railroad remains a popular attraction and a vibrant part of this beautiful California community. We hope you have enjoyed this look back in time and will join us again for another adventure on America's historic steam railroad.